My name is Claire, and I am a partner and AI lead here at GSV. I also write our weekly newsletter on all things AI and education. You can subscribe to that at aieducation.substack.com if you haven't already. We're trying a video version of that newsletter just to give you the signal around all things AI and education. A lot of things coming out of the AI space last week, especially on the broader tech front. And it'll be interesting to see how these move downstream into the education world. Big news out of Apple. They're now developing a new version of Siri called LLM Siri to compete with advanced AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. And this upgraded version is said to use more sophisticated LLMs to enable more natural conversational interactions and hopefully be able to handle complex requests more efficiently. They're hoping to announce this version of LLM Siri as part of iOS 19 and Mac OS 16 in 2025. Mistral also had a series of launches, including Mistral Large, which is a new multimodal AI model, as well as several capability upgrades to LeChat, which is its chatbot. So think of this more as their ChatGPT version of Mistral. Here's a little demo video, but specifically LeChat now matches ChatGPT, at least on paper, on a lot of capabilities, including web search, image generation, even an interactive canvas, which is now all offered for free during beta. And its new 124B parameter Mistral large model is impressive in multimodal tasks while also using fewer parameters than competitors like Meta's Llama 3.1. It's interesting because it's clear that France is becoming Europe's AI powerhouse, with Mistral leading the way, but others close behind. And European companies are clearly beginning to build alternatives to US-based AI providers. China also is seeing similar AI provider activity. DeepSeek, which is an AI research company, launched DeepSeek R1, which is a new reasoning AI model that is supposed to match OpenAI's O1 in performance. And it has the same qualities of taking extra time to think through and fact check its responses. It demonstrates a lot of strong capabilities on academic benchmarks, but it also does block politically sensitive queries about China due to government regulations around AI models. And it's interesting to see Chinese AI companies ship open source models that can match or even outperform Western counterparts, both closed and open, despite GPU restrictions on the country. Google also had a ton of releases, including adding a memory feature to their Gemini chatbot, which now remembers users' preferences, their life details, their work-related information. This is pretty similar to ChatGPT's memory feature, and it's currently only available to Google One AI premium subscribers. Similar to ChatGPT, that information is not shared or used to train their AI model. 11 Labs also launched a conversational AI bot that builds on their existing text-to-speech and voice cloning services. It leverages their voice cloning and text-to-speech services, and it allows anyone to build conversational AI bots and customize things like voice tone, response length, choice of language models. So essentially kind of like pulling ChatGPT's voice mode into any platform. Meta is also creating a new product unit to develop AI tools from the 200 million businesses that use its apps. Specifically, this new business AI product group will be led by Clara Shi, who was most recently the CEO of Salesforce AI. And they'll be developing and monetizing tools within Meta's AI portfolios that is catered specifically to businesses. So think things like allowing businesses to set up their own AI chatbots, talk to customers, or facilitating transactions within WhatsApp and Messenger with AI. And then one more big tech update on the AI front is Microsoft unveiling an AI-powered interpreter from Microsoft Teams, which offers near real-time voice interpretation in 9 different languages. So what's really cool here is the feature actually replicates the speaker's voice while translating into another language. And the hope here is to democratize access to interpreters, especially for companies that can't afford human interpreters. In the safety and regulation world, there was splashy news around the US Justice Department having a major antitrust case against Google, alleging that they had monopoly control over online search. And as part of that, they're asking to unwind Google's $2 billion investment in Anthropic. The proposal basically aims to bar Google from acquiring or investing in companies that influence consumer search, which include AI products, as well as the obvious divestment from Chrome. Google very naturally criticized this proposal, claiming that it would hinder AI investments and jeopardize US tech leadership. Similarly, Musk had a big response back to California's Deepfake Deception Act. The platform X filed a lawsuit to block this Deception Act, AB 2655, citing it as infringement on free speech. The law basically mandates that large platforms like X or Meta remove any materially deceptive AI generated content. But X argues that this law violates the First Amendment and emphasizes historical protections for political speech. And notably, AB 2655 came out of a series of laws that were introduced in California back in September. So we're quickly seeing this landscape evolve. In education, big news around the founder of All Here Education, Joanna Smith Griffin, being arrested and charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, and aggravated identity theft for defrauding investors. The prosecutors allege that she overstated the company's revenue, claiming that it was around 3.7 million in 2020 when it was actually 11,000, and also fabricated customer relationships, including falsely naming major school districts like New York City and Atlanta. All Here developed Ed, which is an AI chatbot that was designed to improve student and parent engagement, reduce absenteeism, and also help to create personalized learning plans. Parents who sued a school for disciplining their kid for copying AI-generated text from Grammarly into his homework ultimately have lost their case. Federal court ruled against the parents, and they found no evidence of misconduct by school officials, emphasizing the legitimacy of their decision to penalize the student. Basically, what happened was the student copied and pasted text from Grammarly without citation. Then tools like Turnitin flagged portions of that text as AI generated. And the student ultimately received a failing grade and then was barred from the National Honor Society. On a tech front, Google had a big event last week where they talked about a couple product updates. And if you haven't checked it out, Learn About or Notebook LM, both are very cool. Would highly recommend. Learn About is a conversational learning companion, and then Notebook LM allows anyone to upload a ton of materials, and then it generates summaries and also transforms notes into study guides, essay outlines, and then also a podcast version. But notably, they've also launched Learn LM into Google's AI Studio so that any developer can experiment with it and provide feedback. Learn LM is an AI model that they've optimized for pedagogy and fostering deeper understanding through learning science principles. And this model is going to be baked into all learning features in Google Classroom, the cloud, Google YouTube's quizzing, AI features, search, Gemini for teens, and so on. OpenAI is also continuing to make moves in the education space by partnering with Common Sense Media. They've launched a partnership to develop AI guidelines and also education materials for parents. And then they also launched with this a free 1-hour online course called ChatGPT Foundations for K-12 educators. They're also collaborating to curate a series of family-friendly GPTs in the GPT store based off of Common Sense Media's ratings and their evaluation standards. And then in the future of Workspace, a really great report coming out of Wharton around Gen AI adoption. We're clearly seeing increased adoption with weekly usage surging from 37% in 2023 to 72% in 2024 across functions like document editing, data analytics, summarization, but also seeing the highest impact in IT specifically. And then conversely, seeing spending on Gen AI doubling from 4.5 million in 2023 to 10.3 million in 2024, really focusing on tools, training, and consulting. And while we see 72% of companies planning to increase their budgets next year for AI, we also expect growth to slow as companies really seek to prove clear ROI on these AI tools. On kind of the human productivity side, just an interesting study that came out of Stanford on software engineering productivity, showing that 9.5% of software engineers virtually do nothing. They're calling these engineers ghost engineers. And they analyzed about 50,000 engineers across hundreds of companies, looked at their GitHub commits, and measured actual productivity through code contributions. And it's just interesting seeing kind of the evolution of the role of an engineer and how AI is kind of potentially aiding the growth of these ghost engineers in the workforce. In other news, AI chatbots have supposedly defeated doctors at diagnosing illnesses. In a big study recently, GPT-4 outperformed doctors in diagnosing complex medical cases, with AI scoring an average of 90%, beating both doctors alone, who scored about 74%, and then doctors who used AI, scoring about 76%. And then finally, kind of interesting in the broader world model development space, Pokemon Go players have unwittingly trained AI to navigate the world. Niantic is allegedly developing a large geospatial model. They're calling this an LGM to use data collected from millions of players of its AR games, which include the Pokemon Go collection, to enable computers to perceive, navigate, and interact with physical spaces. So more to come in this space as well. And that's it for the week. Hope this was helpful. And as always, if you're working at the intersection of AI and education or thinking deeply about the space, we would love to connect. My email is claire@gsv.com, or feel free to reach out to any of the GSV team members. See you next week.